Never auto logs on. Never auto logs on.
Oh, really? Are we live?
We're good. Yeah.
Okay. I'll call this meeting of Personnel Committee to order.
And I'll call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order.
Personnel, Nelson,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Cole.
Here.
And for finance, Wilkos,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
and Iro,
Here.
Lorman.
Here.
First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from June 20th, 2023, from the joint meeting of Personnel and Finance Committees. Do I have a motion from Personnel?
This is Jackson. I make a motion to approve.
This is Cole. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Meeting minutes are approved from Personnel.
Alder Jackson, would you like to move approval for finance?
I make a motion to approve.
Lorman, second.
Any discussion? I did have one addition I would like to make regarding the referral to L&O of the idea of consolidating the Personnel and Finance Committees under miscellaneous. It's item 1. We specifically asked for October 1 to be the date by which we would receive something so that we could talk about it at the October or as early as the October 3rd meeting. So without any objections to that change.
Fine.
All right, well, finance will vote on it. All those in favor of keeping the minutes with that one addition, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm abstaining since I wasn't there.
Right. Ayes have it.
All right. Next is miscellaneous. First under miscellaneous is consideration of the City of Middleton's health insurance plan for 2024 and recommendation of plan for approval to the Common Council.
We've worked with our broker over the summer. The broker came back to us with a renewal from SSM Dean for our health plan. Renewal is extremely favorable, given where we've been the past couple of years, what drove us to SSM Dean from United. And previous year at our maximum capped rate. This year, the rate for the increase for 2024 came in an entire 0.5% below the cap. The cap was 6.9 and the rate is 6.4. So I would propose to the council that this is an excellent cost for our insurance, given the fact that we still are building our experience rate with the insurer. To have something underneath the cap is significantly favorable for us.
I have one question, Brian, if you don't mind. Is there a survey that the employees get to fill out about their satisfaction with the plans?
We have not done that, but I can send out a survey on that for the future.
If I'm not mistaken, we have another year with this
We do.
contract. So I think within the next 6 months to 9 months, that would be great, because then when we go into renegotiating, we would have a very good idea of how people are feeling about it.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Anybody else?
I appreciate you bringing that up. That was a question we had too. So that's great. For finance, I've got just a couple of one comment, one question. On page 30 of the packet, very glad to see the information on gender affirming care. I was going to ask about that, and it's nice that you or Dean anticipated that. It did say in most cases, gender affirming care is covered by Dean Health Plan. Do we know in what cases it wouldn't be?
Yeah, I sent that question back to the broker and I have not received a interpretation of what most cases means. Some of the information on the coverage on Medica versus SSM, I think addresses some of that. There are also some ongoing and recent court cases around religious accommodations and the ability for providers to opt out of providing care. So in most cases may address some of that too. Recent Supreme Court decisions and Fifth Circuit Court directly affect some of this for any provider, even those within medical companies that provide the care generally as a policy.
Okay. And then does our insurance cover abortion care as a service?
Say again.
Does the insurance cover abortion care as a service?
It does. Again, the difference between those providers that either object or are part of SSM versus the Medica side of Dean would determine whether a primary care provider may provide that.
Thank you. I guess we need motions.
So let me clarify. I mean, abortion care is obviously limited by Wisconsin law.
Alder Jackson, would you like to move that we recommend the health insurance plan for 24 to the Common Council, since you are on both committees?
I make a motion to approve it a little bit.
Can we get a second for finance?
This is Wilkes, I'll second. And from personnel, this is Cole, I will second.
Any other discussion or questions? All right, I guess from personnel, all in favor of approving the plan for 2024, signify by saying aye.
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 And then for finance, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes.
All right, second item, consideration and recommendation for approval to Common Council for out-of-cycle reclassification of the head golf professional role at PVGC.
On behalf of the Pleasant View Golf Course Advisory Committee, I would like to recommend to the Finance Committee that we recommend a Common Council to approve the out-of-cycle reclassification for the head golf professional role from a Class 7 to a Class 10.
I'll second that for finance.
Great.
Personnel, I'd like to move that we approve the classification from 7 to a 10 on the salary scale. Do I have a second from personnel?
This is Jackson. I second that.
All right. Can I ask a couple questions? Well, first a comment. When I was reading the job description, I was sort of blown away what's expected. So I'm really glad that this is being reclassified. So I was like, okay, first they need a CPA. I thought they just needed to be really awesome at golf. So I'm really happy to see that this is happening. And then my question is, when is there any retro pay, or is it just starting at a certain date that she'll be?
Talking with Jerry Kabalka, the golf director, his intent is to factor in this change into the 2024 budget. So it will begin on January 1st of 2024. He's not looking for immediate implementation or any retroactive action.
Perfect.
And it should be noted that she does not quite have one of the certification that's required yet. She's working on it right now.
Is that the reason for not having this pay be retroactive?
I don't know if that's the reason. I think budgeting was more of the reason, but that's unclear from our discussions yesterday.
I guess I'm curious to know if he's opposed to the pay being retroactive, because it sounds like this has been maybe a situation for a while now.
So I did talk to Jeremy. I asked him about implementation dates specifically. and laid out that if we're doing the reclassification, we could make that change to the classification and salary grade immediately upon approval. And he was very clear that his vision was to have that begin at the beginning of the fiscal year. Why he wants to go that way, I don't know, but I defer to him as the director for the department.
Sure. And I get that. I just want to make sure that it's not that he thinks we would say no.
No, in this discussion, I was pretty clear with him that I thought he had a really strong case for this, that it being never reviewed in the past, it was an oversight, and that it was probably going to be reviewed favorably by both these committees and the council, given the amount of information.
Thank you for that background.
Could I ask a question of Alder Wokus? In your committee meetings, is that something that feels comfortable for the Golf Committee to have the new pay grade start at the beginning of 2024? Or is there a sense that she should have a retro pay?
Effective date was not something that was discussed at all. This was pretty much, it was a pretty quick review and approval. I think the case that Brian made in the memo for the approval, it was just pointed out, Jeremy made an emphasis that she's working on some of the classifications and certifications right now.
Great.
So that could be, he did not mention that specifically being the reason, but it could be.
Could be the reason. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Jennifer, yeah.
So this is an off-cycle reclassification. What is the typical cycle for reclass?
So typically, we hire an external consultant about every 5 years to come in and do a comprehensive review of our classification schedule, all of the positions ideally, and take a look at how we allocate those across the salary grades. We see a reshuffling at that point. Sometimes positions will move down, but they stay roughly in the same amount. Last time we went from 19 salary grades to 22 salary grades, and the positions moved. I expect that to be done again in 2025 or 2026. That's when we would be due for our next external review. The last external review was done in 2020. In between that, we make some uniform adjustments each year to all of the grades. And we also entertain valid and very definitive out of cycle reviews like this one. And in this case, it had never been reviewed. So it was definitely due a clear look.
And if this position were to become vacant, it would still maintain what we change it to today.
Absolutely, yes. The review and the classification is based on the position at all times, not on the person.
Well, thank you for bringing it to the agenda. It's great that we can take care of it for them. All right, is it time?
I had a couple questions. One, can you bring up the new job description, the one dated August? Please. I just want to make sure that that's the August one.
Yep.
So this salary range needs to change. Is that correct?
In fact, after that question, I went in and changed the salary range. It was an oversight in updating job description. Normally, I don't update the salary ranges on any of the job description until I actually have an active posting. There are a number of different ways the salary is posted onto postings versus the job description. So that's when I would normally do it. That was an oversight on my part in producing the new.
Okay, but the upper end is going to be definitely above the 70,000 something that will be.
Yeah,
the new salary.
absolutely.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that was caught. And then finally on page, well, I guess go down a couple of pages from this towards the end of this particular thing. It says telework. So the reference to this position can be conducted wholly via telework, remote work. Is that just a nod to the possibility of another pandemic situation, or?
It is.
Okay. Because I'm guessing it can't really be under normal circumstances. Okay, that's all I had. Any other questions from finance?
Anybody else in personnel, anything? Are we ready for a vote from personnel? All right. All in favor of moving the pay grade for professional golf position from grade 7 to grade 10 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes for personnel.
Okay, same motion for finance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. And that brings
All
us
right,
to
is
the
that
end.
the end of
our
the
agenda.
personnel agenda? Do I have a motion for adjourning for personnel?
This is Cole, so moved.
I will second. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 All right. Personnel stands adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, and without objection, the finance committee will have a short break until 6:30.